Welcome to Rabbit Trails for Cyborg Bunnies, and welcome to the second part of explaining morality in critical realism. In part 1, we discussed Steve Ash's concept of the two approaches to universal morality. The first is that there is an independent aspect to reality that is moral, and thus universal reality exists whether humans believe in it, or recognize it, or practice it. The second approach is that morality becomes universal as social history and evolution enforce right behavior, thus making universal morality known. Using the example of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, in approach 1, slavery would be wrong because all humans have inherent rights, simply by being human. In approach 2, slavery would be wrong because most humans today feel they would want to have these rights. The obvious problems with the second approach is the wide number of people who do not believe in any standard of objective morality, and the fact that slavery continues to flourish as much today as it did in the past, just not so openly to the common public. Totalitarian governments only recognize limited, quote, rights that they see as stemming from the state, which can and are revoked at whim. Thus, if there is an aspect of universal morality which Ash is in search of, it must be of the first kind, an independent aspect of reality. To investigate if such an independent aspect exists, Ash turns to critical realism and its philosophical investigation into causal structure. In simple terms, a causal structure is something which causes an event, or an effect. One of the pillars of critical realism is Basker's assertion that most causal structures can only be observed by their effects, not directly. As empiricism and positivism both rely on that which can be observed and measured, they fall incredibly short of being helpful in identifying those structures in matters of morality and the issues of good and evil. Another basic pillar of critical realism is that truth exists independent of our theories about it. It does not matter what labels we put on an effect. The structure will produce what the structure produces, not what we want it to produce. Critical realism is a return to looking at the actual results, stripped of social interpretation, and then using naturalism and empiricism, employing reason to produce a more accurate interpretation that is closer to the truth. I always wanted to study history, to be a historian. I never wanted to live through it, to bear the brunt of making it, and yet I live in a historic time. Yesterday, the world mourned the death of Queen Elizabeth II of England. Also yesterday, Pierre Poilievre won the leadership of the Conservative Party in a landslide 68% first vote in Canada. Also yesterday, the Ukrainians kicked butt and pushed most of Russian invaders out of their lands in the 200th day of the war. All done in the name of freedom. This is the historic time that people are getting tired of the globalized nonsense of political elites trying to return us to a time of slavery and repression, also done in the name of freedom. By looking at the nuanced details of these three events, we will see that we need to stop looking at the names things are being done under and start evaluating the events themselves. In the next episode, we take a look at these details and the causal structures creating these events. Thank you for watching, and we will see you next time on Rabbit Trails for Cyborg Bunnies.